Welcome back to A Game of Fangs and Thrones. My name's Hannah, and this is my November TBR. Can you believe we're nearly through? That was a good fall then. But can you believe we are at the end of nearly at the end of the year already? But anyway, I'm not playing Game of TBR this month because I did another edition of Sean Picks My TBR. I rolled the dice. My 20-sided die, I rolled that for him and we got 18, so there are 18 books that he has picked for me to read. If I get to them, I get to them. If I don't, I don't. It's no biggie. So let's just dive right in. These aren't the order I'm going to be reading them in. These are just the order that I seem to pick them out of the shelves and put them in the little bags. I got these bags from Illuma Crate. That one I've just held up says I'm made of memories by Madeline Miller, and the other one, which you'll see in a minute, is inspired by Night, and I think they're both from Illuma Crate. But first off, we have The Lost Book of the White by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Shue. This is the second in the Eldest Curses series, the first one being the Red Scrolls of Magic, which is basically a fun little romp following Magnus and Alec as they journey throughout Europe after the events of Fallen Angels at City of Fallen Angels. Oh, I just dropped it because I was looking at the Undeadest jacket. But because of the edition, my copy of Red Scrolls as it stays on this side. But this is the sequel to that. In the first book, we learn that Magnus founded a demon worshipping cult as a bit of a joke, and it seems that has now become its own real thing with real consequences. So while Alec and Magnus are on holiday trying to deepen their relationship, they also have to deal with this demon cult. So Lost Book of the White is the sequel to that. I don't think it's a conclusion, I think this is more than a duology. But yeah. Then we have another sequel. We have this chunker, which is The City of Tears by Kate Moss. This is a sequel to The Burning Chambers, which deals with the wall. This is an interesting one to try and, because this is a sequel, but this deals with the Catholic and Huguenot wars of the 1500s in France, and it deals with Minu and a rebel called Raoul, I want to say. It's been a while since I've read the first book, but I do really remember really enjoying it. I must have, because I bought this in hardback and the first book is in paperback, so that tells you something. And then we have The Winter Garden by Alexandra Bell. This follows Beatrice, who, when her mother dies on the night her mother dies, 8-year-old Beatrice receives an invitation to the mysterious Winter Garden, a place of wonder and magic filled with all manner of strange and sublime flora and fauna. The garden is her solace every night for 7 days. But when the garden disappears and no one believes her story, Beatrice is left to wonder if it was truly real. 18 years later, on the eve of her wedding to a man her late father approved of, but she does not love, Beatrice makes the decision to throw off the expectations of Victorian English society and search for the garden. But when both she and her closest friend Rosa receive invitations to create spectacular pleasure gardens, with the prize being one life-changing wish, she realises she may be closer to finding it than she ever imagined. Now all she has to do is win. And this is a gorgeous edition. I think this one was from the Good Box Club. But it is perfect for the start of the Christmassy season, I would say. I think that's probably why Sean picked it. Some of these I know why he picked, others I don't know. We have this one here, which is 8,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes, and this is the story of the women in the Trojan War. So in the middle of the night, Chryseida wakes to find her beloved city engulfed in flames. 10 seemingly endless years of conflicts between the Greeks and the Trojans are over. Troy has fallen. From the Trojan women whose fates now lie in the hands of the Greeks, to the Amazon princess who fought Achilles on their behalf, to Penelope awaiting the return of Odysseus, to the 3 goddesses whose feud started it all. These are the stories of the women embroiled in the legendary war. Powerfully told from an all-female perspective in 1,000 Ships, Natalie Haynes puts the women, girls and goddesses at the centre of the story. So I have recently just read Troy. It is just there by Stephen Fry, which is his take on the story of Troy, the war, and it was very male-centred. So this is, from what I've seen and what I've heard, this is the same story but told from the perspective of the women. Then we have a witchy book. We have The Age of Witches by Louisa Morgan. In 1692, Bridget Bishop was hanged as a witch. 200 years later, her legacy lives on in the scions, I can never say that, scions of 2 very different lines, one dedicated to using the powers to heal and help women in need, the other determined to grasp power for themselves. This clash will play out in the fate of Annis, a young woman in the Gilded Age of New York, who finds herself a pawn in the family struggle for supremacy. She'll need to claim her own power to save herself and resist succumbing to the darkness that threatens to overcome them all. I believe this is a standalone, but I'm not 100%. So, witchy book. Can't go wrong with a witchy book. Then we have another witchy book. We have A Discovery of Witches. How many times can I say witches in one video? But this is by Deborah Harkness. All the back says is a world of witches, demons and vampires. A manuscript which holds the secrets to their past and the key to their future. Diana and Matthew, the forbidden love at the heart of it. And it has been a big book, it's quite floppy. And I have heard good things about this one, so we shall see. I think, by the way, Sean didn't know who wrote these books, he just got the titles, and so some of them I know why he picked. I'm just trying to find. Anyway, right, so we have Love, Simon. This is the movie edition of Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. Sean picked this one because it's based on a film. But this follows Simon, who's 16, trying to work out who he is and what he's looking for, when one of his emails to the very distracting Blue falls into the wrong hands. Things get all kinds of complicated, because for Simon, falling for Blue is a big deal. And I think I read Leah in the Offbeat before I read Love, Simon, so I do know who Blue is, but it should be a fun little contemporary to break up the bigger, heavier books that I have to read this month. Then we then we have The Beekeeper of Aleppo by Christy Lefetiri, and I'm expecting this one to make me cry. In the midst of war he found love, in the midst of darkness he found courage, in the midst of tragedy he found hope. What will you find from this story? Nuri is a beekeeper, his wife Afra an artist. They live happily in the beautiful Syrian city of Aleppo until the unthinkable happens and they are forced to flee. But what Afra has seen is so terrible she has gone blind, and they must embark on a perilous journey through Turkey and Greece towards an uncertain future in Britain. As Nuri and Afra travel through a broken world, they must confront not only the pain of their own unspeakable loss, but dangers that would overwhelm the bravest of souls. Above all, and perhaps this is the hardest thing they face, they must journey to find each other again. I think this is going to make me cry. Then we have a book guaranteed to make me cry because this author does not like happy endings. and that is Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jake Bristoff. This is the sequel to Aurora Rising, and Aurora Rising is a sci-fi set in space. We follow our main characters. There is a whole bunch of them. I can only remember Aurora, and that's because everything's named after her. But yeah, our main character is top of the class. He's about to graduate Space Academy, but then he answers a distress call, which turns out to be Aurora's ship, and she is frozen in cryosleep and has been for the last century or so. And because our main character was out rescuing Aurora, he now has the dregs to choose from for his graduating squad, and they become Squad 312. And everything just goes crazy for them. They have to find out why Aurora was left and how she was left, and try to get her home, but her home doesn't exist anymore. So this is the sequel, and this is our space elf. We have the if you saw, I can't remember when it was, but I was reading Aurora Rising, and that was a purple book. This one is an orange book. Orange is very Halloween, even though we're going to be reading this in November, but you know, you get the gist. Then another book that Sean picked because of the title and because its movie was made into it is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. The industrialist Henrik Vanger, head of the dynastic Vanger Corporation, is tormented by the loss of a child decades earlier and convinced that a member of his family has committed murder. The journalist Mikkel Blomqvist delves deep into the Vanger's past to uncover the truth behind the unsolved mystery, but someone else wants the past to remain a secret and will go any lengths to keep it that way. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Lisbeth Salander, the enigmatic, delinquent and dangerous security specialist, assists in the investigation. Genius computer hacker tolerates no restrictions placed upon her by individuals, society, or the law. So I am expecting to enjoy this one. It's a bit different for me. But yeah, and that's one little book bag empty. Where's Mr. Pinky? Is that Mr. Pinky? No, that's a bird. Sure, I saw Mr. Pinky. Oh yeah, he's at the top. There he is. Moving on before I fangirl over those boxes, not the books. We have Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. This is another floppy one. But Kamai was warned to never open the black door, but she didn't listen. Everyone has a soul. Some are beautiful gardens, others are frightening dungeons. Soul walkers, like Kamai and her mother, can journey into other people's souls while they sleep. But no matter where Kamai visits, she sees the black door. It follows her into every soul, and her mother has told her never to open it. When Kamai touches the door, it is warm and beating, like it has a pulse. When she puts her ear to it, she hears her own name whispered from the other side, and when tragedy strikes, Kamai does the unthinkable. She opens the door. E.M. Strickland's imaginative dark fantasy features court intrigue and romance, a main character coming to terms with her asexuality, and twists and turns as a seductive mystery unfolds that endangers not only Kamai's soul, but the entire kingdom. I think I have a type here. These books seem to be very thrillery, darky, heart-wrenchingly type doodah. Then we have A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and if Sean knew who wrote this one, he probably would have picked it anyway, but this is by George R.R. Martin. And almost a century before Game of Thrones, two unlikely heroes wandered Westeros. In an age when the Targaryen line still holds the Iron Throne, and recollections of the last dragon have not yet passed from living memory, a naive but courageous hedge knight, Sir Duncan the Tall, towers above his rivals in stature, if not experience. Tagging along with him is his diminutive squire, a boy called Egg, whose true identity must be kept hidden, for in reality he is Aegon Targaryen, and one day he will be king. Improbable heroes though they are, great destinies lie ahead for Dunk and Egg, as do powerful foes, royal intrigue, and outrageous exploits. So, because I have read Game of Thrones, I know this one might be a little bit dense in terms of the writing style, and the font is rather small. But there are cool pictures. We have a dude fighting. So that's that one. We have. I'll do a couple of these. The next one's the last because I know exactly why he's picked these ones. Then we have Iron Gold by Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan? That's an actor. Pierce Brown. By Pierce Brown. This is the fourth in the Red Rising series, which is a dystopian sci-fi following Darrow, who started his life as a Red, who is the lowest of the low on Mars. He and his whole cast have been told that they are terraforming Mars by mining Helios 3 in order to terraform it for other people to live on Mars. And Darrow is quite happy just going along mining until his wife sets herself up to be a martyr, and Darrow gets involved with the rebellion and finds out that he has been lied to, and that Mars is inhabited by other castes, with the ruling castes being the Golds, and Darrow makes it his mission to infiltrate the Golds from the inside out. Now this is the start of the second trilogy in the overall world, the first trilogy being Red Rising, Golden Sun and Morning Star, and it is a fairly chunky one, and it is adult as well, so this might take a while to get through. I can't read the back because of spoilers. Then we have the Extinction Trials by S.M. Wilson. Betrayal, Sacrifice, Survival. Welcome to the Extinction Trials. In Stormchaser and Lincoln's ruined world, the only way to survive is to risk everything. To face a contest more dangerous than anyone can imagine, and they will do anything to win. But in a land full of monsters, human and reptilian, they can't afford to trust anyone. Perhaps not even each other. Now this gives me a Hunger Games meets something else vibes. Fire and Flood? Maybe? But I have to admit, it is the cover that got me. So, these next books, I know exactly what Sean picked, so we're just going to run through them. He picked Wonder Woman, Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo, because we recently watched the new Wonder Woman 1984, and obviously he recognised the title. But this isn't a novelisation of 1984. This is a prequel, origin type of story. She will become a legend, but first she is Diana, Princess of the Amazons, and her fight is just the beginning. Diana is desperate to prove herself to her warrior sisters, but when the opportunity comes, she throws away her chance at glory and breaks Amazon law to save a mere mortal, Alia Corellis. With this single heroic act, Diana may have just doomed the world. Alia is a warbringer, a descendant of the infamous Helen of Troy, fated to bring about an age of bloodshed and misery. Diana and Alia will face an army of enemies, mortal and divine, determined to destroy or possess the warbringer. To save the world, they must stand side by side against the tide of war. So this is the fourth book in the DC Icons series, and the last one I have to read. I've read Batman by Marie Lu. I enjoyed it, I just didn't keep it because I didn't think I would reread. Matt de la Pena's Superman, again, read it, got rid of it, not going to reread. Sarah J. Maas's Catwoman, which I probably will reread. And obviously Wonder Woman, which I have yet to read, which is why it's in this video. So the next one is Dragon Legend by Katie and Kevin Sang. This is the sequel to Dragon Mountain, which follows Billy, who at 12 doesn't really want to go to summer camp in China. He's quite happy to stay in America surfing, but he goes to this dragon mountain and finds out that dragons are real. So Sean wants me to read. Sean picked this one because this is the dragon book. And what I will say about Dragon Mountain is I did enjoy it. I think I gave it 5 stars, but I did want more dragons. So hopefully this has more dragons. The next two I'll just talk about together are Actual Age Eve Brown and Take a Hint Danny Brown. Sean picked these ones for me because he likes the titles. He thinks the titles are hilarious, which they do sound like passive-aggressive insults, I have to admit. So this is book 2 and 3 in the Brown Sisters series, the first one being Take a Hint, Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which I read earlier this month, I think? Yeah, earlier this month. So Take a Hint, Danny Brown follows Danny, who is the eldest, I think. She knows what she wants: professional success, academic renown, and an occasional role in the hay to relieve all their career-driven tension. But romance? Been there, done that, burned the t-shirt. So Danny asks the universe for the perfect friends with benefits. When brooding security guard Sophia Ansari rescues her from a workplace fair drug gone wrong, it's an obvious sign. PhD student Danny and ex-rugby player Saf are destined to sleep together. But before she can explain that fact, a video of the heroic rescue goes viral. Now half the internet is shipping #DrRugby, and Zaf is begging Danny to play along. Danny's plan is simple: fake a relationship in public, seduce Zaf behind the scenes. But grumpy Zaf is secretly romantic, and he's determined to corrupt Danny's stone-cold realism. With every fake date and midnight meeting, Danny's easy lay becomes more complex than her thesis. Has her wish backfired? And then Actual Age Eve Brown obviously follows Eve, who is the youngest. Eve Brown is a certified hot mess. No matter how hard she tries to do right, her life always goes horribly wrong, so she's given up trying. But when her personal brand of chaos ruins a wedding, her parents draw the line. It's time for Eve to grow up and prove herself, even though she's not entirely sure how. Jacob Wayne is always in control. The uptight B&B owner expects nothing less than perfection from his employees. So when a purple-haired tornado of a woman applies for his open chef position, he tells her the brutal truth: not a chance in hell. Then she hits him with her car, supposedly by accident. Now his arm is broken, his B&B is understaffed, and the dangerously unpredictable Eve is flutting around trying to help. Before long, she's infiltrated his work, his kitchen, and his spare bedroom. Sunny, chaotic Eve is his natural-born nemesis, but the longer these two enemies spend in close quarters, the more their animosity turns into something else entirely. So they're all the books that I'm hopefully going to read in November. I'm not holding out hope that I'll manage all of them, because there are a few adult books in there. Middle grade shouldn't take too long, but adult takes work. I don't read them as quick as I do young adult. So if I read, I think I'm on for 9 or 10 this month, so in October, so that would be nice to read 9 or 10. But if that's it for this video, if you liked it, give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see this, and talk about these, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!